All right, so today I want to talk to you about a situation that just happened in the freight broker and the trucking industry. And it's these types of occurrences that happen that cause you as a freight broker or a truck driver unnecessary strife. It could take money out of your pocket, and yes, it could eventually run you out of business if you're not careful. That's why I think it's important to have relationships, to have partnerships with people in this business that can see things that you can't see. Like TRUCKSTOP, they have a top-down perspective. They are a partner of ours. And they have a lot of different relationships they can leverage. Relationships with carriers, relationship with freight brokers. And they're privy to information that otherwise I wouldn't be privy to if I didn't have a connection to them. So let me clue you in on what's happened so it'll make you understand the importance of maintaining vigilance. Make you understand the importance of staying on top of your game. Vetting those carriers that you're working with, because when you don't do this, it could lead to disaster. So here's what happened. TRUCKSTOP contacted me on yesterday to make me aware of a scheme that's going on and to be very aware of those carriers that you're working with that's outside of your network, new carriers that you're working with. Because what these carriers are doing is posing as carriers, but they are really schemers that are out to make life really hard for you, to steal your load and cause you a whole lot of unnecessary pain. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business, because this happened to a freight brokerage that had been in business for over 15 years. Had very good processes and procedures in place, were very meticulous about how they vetted their carriers, and still they fell victim to this carrier or this schemer posing as a carrier. To make sure you get it exactly how I got it, I'm just going to read you the email that TRUCKSTOP sent me on yesterday. It says, I hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. I received a troubling call this morning about a kidnapped load and wanted to share information with you on that incident. Although these incidents are now commonplace, it is still a stark reminder of the importance of thoroughly vetting carriers. The company you called me this morning is a 15-year-old brokerage company. To protect their privacy, I'm just going to refer to them as Freight Pro. Freight Pro had secured a reefer load containing $30,000 worth of specialty food. After a comprehensive search, Freight Pro selected a carrier that seemed to check all of the boxes. A clean record, positive reviews on Carrier 411, all necessary documentation, and they showed good communication. The carrier presented himself as a seasoned professional. However, the carrier was not the reliable carrier he claimed to be. He was a double broker, a con artist who took the load and disappeared without a trace. Freight Pro realized that their calls and emails were going unanswered. They knew something was amiss and contacted authorities. It took Freight Pro a week to finally recover the kidnapped load, which was found in a warehouse in Los Angeles, with the entire shipment spoiled. The investigation uncovered that the carrier had provided a fake address and an untraceable internet phone number, leaving Freight Pro with a $30,000 loss and a damaged reputation. This unfortunate incident serves as a reminder of the importance of vetting and constant vigilance in our industry. It's crucial to remember that even the most seemingly trustworthy carriers can turn out to be fraudsters. I hear these stories daily, and it doesn't get any easier. The hardest part is hearing the pain and anger of the victims coming through on the calls, questioning what step they missed that allowed this to happen. Now, as you can probably tell, what comes through in this email is that this person didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go out and steal a load today. There's a lot of planning that went into that. There's a lot of planning that went into making a business look legitimate, making himself look like a real carrier. So you have to do your research on these carriers. We cannot just say, okay, the carrier sounds good. His profile looks good. We have to look deeper into it. We have to look at his address, check that address. We have to look at those phone numbers and make sure that those things are matching up. The Motor Carrier Authority, checking them out on the Safer system. And even when you do all of that stuff, still sometimes they can have it so disguised that it actually looks like something that it's not. So you got to be extra vigilant in doing your research on these carriers before you give them your load. Because when you give them that load, guess what? It's going to be on you if something happens. Because now this freight broker's relationship with that customer is probably ruined. That customer probably is not going to just say, you know what, I understand that this happened and we'll move on from it. Probably not. Especially if that freight broker does not have a long-term relationship with that customer. So be extra cautious when you are dealing with new carriers that you've never worked with before. Make sure you're checking them out to make sure that carrier is who he says he is. And this message is not just for freight brokers, it's also for carriers. Carriers get shafted every day just like freight brokers do, especially when you don't do your due diligence. Make sure you're doing your research on these freight brokers, on these carriers, because your job is to make sure that these people are who they say they are. You have people that are posing as freight brokers. They have no intention of paying you to pick up a load. All they want to do is get over on you, take advantage of you, and steal your time and your money. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. If you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, check the description box for my free link that gives you access to my 5-video series. This video series shows me in the office moving freight, talking to shippers and carriers to give you a better understanding of how this business works before you come into it. And then if you're ready to go out and get your load board, I happen to think that TRUCKSTOP has the #1 load board in the business, and we've partnered with them. And that partnership allows for me to offer you a link within the description box. Make sure you go to the description box, click on that link, and you can get your first month free of your TRUCKSTOP's load board subscription. Have a great day, have a great rest of your week, and as always, you know the drill. I'll see you all the way at the top of the mountain, because the bottom is much too crowded.